Everybody calm down. Literally everything in this gaming PC build guide today was recently purchased by myself. Literally nothing in here is sponsored at all. And I'm even gonna show you how I scored the graphics card. Cue the intro. Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf. This here is roughly a $700 gaming PC that I recently put together. Like I said, I purchased everything myself, including the GPU. So if it's not already too late, let's lay off the comment section about how it's impossible to buy a GPU right now and just enjoy this build. The only thing I didn't pay for in this build guide is the backplate from V1 Tech. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But now that I think about it, I also didn't pay for this cold brew coffee. My good friends at Trade Coffee decided to hook me up with this, and that's exactly why they're the sponsor of today's video. Trade Coffee is providing exactly what I've been looking for when it comes to coffee, and that's a coffee shop level of quality that gets delivered right to my doorstep, and they have so many options to choose from as they work with roasters from all over the country. Not only can you take a short coffee quiz and get delivered coffee beans based on your personal taste preferences and grind preferences depending on how you make your coffee, but they also have these one-stop shop cold brew kits now that it's summer and hot outside, so you can turn those delicious beans into cold brew, and it's super simple to do. The website has all the instructions that you need, but basically all you do is fill these bags up with the grounded coffee that they send you, you place it into a container and add water, and then you just wait 12 to 18 hours and then it's good to go. Trade Coffee is hooking you guys up with an exclusive AF coupon code, and that'll save you 50% off your first coffee bag, but that'll only work for the first 100 people, so you don't want to waste any time. Head on down to the first link down in the description to save that 50%. And once again, big thanks to Trade Coffee for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so getting back into this PC, we're gonna jump straight into the parts list and kick things off with the Ryzen 5 1600AF. Yep, the once $85 price to performance monster came back on Amazon a few weeks ago. It was $100, but that's still great here in 2021. And this is rocking 6 cores and 12 threads and can hang with almost any mid-range performing graphics card. The motherboard it's plugged into is none other than the Gigabyte B450M DS3H version 2. You guys know I use these in a ton of my budget build guides, and I actually picked this up on Amazon, not on a sale, for $73. You can definitely get this one for a bit cheaper if you exercise a little patience and snipe the good deals. Speaking of good deals, Dr. Zoomer from our ZTT Discord server hooked me up with the RAM. This is the YOLO 2x8GB kit that's clocked at 3000 megahertz, and I was actually able to snipe this one down to $74 brand new. White RAM is certainly getting very expensive these days. If you're trying to follow this build guide, then feel free to go with the black version because that one goes on sale way more often. Following that, we have the SSD, and this is the SK Hynix 500GB S31, and I paid the very normal price for this one as well at $57. This is only a 2.5-inch SSD, so no NVMe speeds or anything, but by being a 2.5-inch drive, it allowed me to use this vinyl wrap, and once again, big thanks to Vivid for sending out all of the vinyl supplies that I'll ever need. You guys know that I've been doing this to a lot of my recent builds lately, now that I have all this vinyl wrap, and I actually wrapped this power supply as well. This is just the EVGA 450BR. You know the drill by now. I picked this up on EVGA B-Stock and paid just $25 for it. This case works perfectly for a vinyl job like this because of the PSU cutout, and this is the Apevia Prodigy Black Micro ATX case. I actually used this a few weeks ago in the purple build that you can check out in the upper right hand corner, and for just $70, not on a sale, this has been one of my favorite budget cases lately. It comes pre-installed with 3 RGB fans, a nice tempered glass side panel, that PSU cutout for vinyl wrapping, and even has the mesh front panel, which is perfect for good airflow. These cable extensions to go along with the aesthetics are from Asia Horse. Dr. Zoomer actually posted these in our ZTT Deals Discord channel, as well as we all saved a few bucks on this one. And to match this white and black theme we have, I decided to turn this into a Game of Thrones themed PC, which I'm sure you've already noticed by now. Not only do we have the Jon Snow's direwolf Funko Pop hanging out there, but I also have my friends at V1 Tech hook us up with a custom backplate, and I love the way this turned out. V1 Tech creates all sorts of these custom parts. You can even add RGBs if you want, and they can build not just GPU backplates, but also AIO covers, SSD covers, GPU support brackets, and they now even have full-size PSU shroud covers, which I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of here soon. Make sure you get subscribed for that. Underneath the GPU backplate, we obviously have the graphics card, saving the best for last just like always, and this here is the EVGA RTX 2060, which I picked up on EVGA B-Stock for $280. I can only talk about picking up these GPUs for those of you in the United States, but for those of you that aren't up to speed, EVGA B-Stock has been consistently my #1 hookup for picking up GPUs. I promise I don't mean this to flex, but I've personally bought 17 graphics cards now in the last 3 months, and a ton of them are coming from EVGA B stock. I share this with you because if you live in the United States, I want to prove to you that it's definitely possible to be scooping these up, provided you're putting in the work. I don't think people comprehend just how much work myself and people in the ZTT Discord server are putting into getting these graphics cards. I'm refreshing these websites literally every single day, sometimes like 50 times a day, to be honest. You really need to hawk these websites if you actually want to pick up a graphics card. If you're following me on Instagram at Zach's Tech Turf, then you'll already know that not only am I posting one fitness selfie after another, but I'm also showing you that I'm going the extra mile and even bringing my laptop with me to the home gym so I can keep refreshing EVGA B stock during my workouts. It really does require that much dedication. I don't want to keep dragging out this point. This applies to not only EVGA B stock, but also places like NZXT Refurbished, Best Buy, etc. You really need to commit to finding a GPU and stop just looking one time at the link down in the description, seeing that it's out of stock, and then complaining to everyone that you can't buy one. With that rant over, here's what the final parts list is looking like for our less than $700 gaming PC. Just like always, I don't include the price of the aesthetics only stuff because you definitely don't need to copy that to achieve the same level of performance. And speaking of which, we definitely got to test that out with a big benchmarking run. And let's start with Fortnite because once again, your boy got the dub in the one single game that I decided to benchmark. Here in 1080p with pro settings, this gaming PC cranked out a pretty impressive FPS average of 230. Just like normal, that 1% low is kind of low with an uncapped frame rate, but all of that is irrelevant as once again, the Fortnite god does what he does best, rack up the kills while benchmarking Fortnite and walk out of there with yet another tally in the win column. Next up, we have Valorant. Was definitely landing the headshots in this one today, and in 1080p with high settings, I got 145 frames per second. Comment down below what ranking you think I'd get if I started playing this game seriously. Maybe I should start grinding it out on my Twitch live streams, twitch.tv/ZachsTechTurf, by the way. It's definitely the place to be. After that, I tested out the brand new Outriders. Definitely a tougher one to run, but I was actually able to keep the settings up to 1080p and Ultra, and I still got a pretty impressive 87 frames per second average. Next up was Valheim, and I actually couldn't put the settings at max and get 60 FPS, so I settled down to high settings. This game still looks pretty good with the lighting and reflections and all that, despite the low character textures, and in 1080p with high settings, I got right on the money at 60 FPS. One quick note before we continue is that if you're trying to pick up any of these games that I'm talking about on a really nice discount, head on over to Green Man Gaming because they actually have a ton of legit sales over there, and that's actually where I've been buying my Steam games from. Link is down in the description. Assassin's Creed Valhalla followed up after that, and using the built-in benchmarking tool in 1080p with high settings, I got 62 FPS. Rogue Company was up to bat next. Believe it or not, I actually spent the 5 minutes required to learn how to finally uncap the frame rate. It's literally a single line of text you have to enter into one of the config files, and now this is finally a proper benchmarking title. And in 1080p with ultra settings, I got 112 FPS. After that, I tested Borderlands 3, and in 1080p with ultra settings, I got 64 FPS, which is pretty good, but check out that GPU temperature in the upper left-hand corner. I noticed during this benchmark specifically, the GPU was getting up to 82 degrees, not an alarming temperature, but definitely hotter than normal. Definitely something to be aware of when you're buying a used graphics card, even if it's from somewhere like EVGA B stock. Rainbow Six Siege was up next, and the GPU definitely doesn't need to get as hot for this one, as in 1080p with ultra settings, this PC cranked out 216 FPS. After that, I tested WoW Classic, only because I wanted to express my personal excitement for WoW Classic TBC that's about to launch here in a few days on June 1st. Comment down below if you're entering the Dark Portal with me, but yeah, this one's super easy to run, as in 1080p with max settings, I was still able to get 231 FPS. Counter-Strike was up next, no montage for this one unfortunately, and in 1080p with pro settings, I got 203 FPS. And for our last gaming benchmark, we have Call of Duty Warzone, and in 1080p with medium/normal settings, I got 97 FPS, and definitely got a few headshots along the way. Just like always, we have a quick 3D Mark time spy run, and this $700 gaming PC cranked out a score of 7,064. Hopefully you all enjoyed this build guide, talking about how I scored the GPU, and of course, yet another Fortnite dub. Feel free to click the video that's on the screen now if you want to see a little bit more budget of a build using this exact same case, just if you're on a tighter budget. But just like always, I hope you enjoyed this video.